Okay, you guys, it is 6:30, so it is Tip Tuesday. I'm just gonna double check that I'm actually streaming live on my Facebook page. How are you guys doing today? I'm hoping somebody's going to come and join us for Jumpstart. I'm super excited. This is the first week we're doing it. So let's see what we got going on here. I always want to double check to make sure that I'm actually streaming live. Oh, I'm on there. Hi guys, it's Tyrenda with Ty Pentecost Photography, and we are actually starting out officially Tip Tuesday today, and we're launching a 5-week course called Jumpstart. So a little bit about Tip Tuesday is, and I don't even know if I actually put this thing over, but anyways, a little bit about Tip Tuesday is it's all about photographers and basically getting you guys acclimated or helping you guys, start working on some business practices that you might see some business growth with, like using some of these tips. It could be photography tips, it could be business tips, it could be posing, or just anything to do that has to do with creatives and businesses. My hope is that I can give you some little nuggets that will help you to develop and grow your business in a better and stronger way. And I will give you guys a disclaimer, and that is a lot of the things that I talk about are things that I've tried. Maybe I tried them and I failed, or maybe I tried them and I saw success and then it failed. So some of the things that I might, give you guys tips about will be things that maybe weren't always successful for me. And so I'm going to help you guys out, like, don't do that or do that, but do it better than me. Because I think it's important as business owners to recognize what your limitations are and what your strengths are and what areas you need to outsource or get help with and all that good stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about Jumpstart, and then we're going to get right into this week's topics, which is branding for your business. So, Jumpstart is basically something that I kind of started. I thought about it a couple of months back, and I was thinking, like, what are like the 5 things that I really felt really helped to grow and develop my business. And so I started to kind of think through in sequence, like, what areas I really grew and developed in and how I felt it really helped to grow my photography business. I started out on Facebook with, I don't know, my family following me, and now I'm, approaching 2,000 followers, and I've done lots of weddings this year, and I've just really seen a big boost in my business. And I think there was some things that I did that really jumpstarted me and catapulted me into this business industry. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about for the 5 steps was business branding. And I just felt like that was like the most important thing that I felt really helped to grow and develop me as a photographer, was understanding who I was as a photographer, but also making sure that I portrayed a specific brand that my clients could either connect, or clients would say, I don't know if I quite connect with her. So I started Jumpstart. And so the first thing we're going to be talking about today is business branding. So let's get kind of right into it. Hopefully some other folks will join. If they don't, that's okay. So today we're talking about the 3 must-haves that I feel like you've got to have to really see some growth in your business. 1, you have to have a logo. I think it's really important that people can identify you by your logo. So the other thing too is you have to have a website. There has to be a place where that bride or that potential client can go to and learn a little bit about you, see a little bit of your work, and find a way to contact you. And the other thing I think that is extremely important is to have some sort of a social media presence, especially separate from your personal social media. I don't think you should be posting your, photography, beautiful artwork on your personal page where you also show pictures, 100 pictures of your dog. That would be me. Like, I have so many pictures of Samson up on my Instagram and my Facebook page. People would be like, okay, is she like a dog photographer or is she a wedding photographer? So I think it's important to kind of keep those things separate. So we're going to kind of get right into this. So let's talk about logos. And when I think about logos, I actually kind of chuckle to myself because the very first logo that I ever purchased was off of Etsy. I went on an Etsy and I had no idea that they even offered this service, but I found so many different like templates and artists that were on there that were willing to basically do a logo for you for like $15 or $30 or whatever, something totally reasonable. And starting out in the photography industry, I needed something totally reasonable because I wasn't some kind of like a photography baller starting out. I had like 3 clients or whatever, but I wanted to have something that I could call my own, something that had like my stuff on it. So I remember I went on to Etsy. I found this lady, I think her name was like Aquarius Logos or something like that. And literally I paid her $30, $30 to do a logo. And I rocked that logo. I still love that logo. And I feel bad. I was trying to find that logo and I could not find it. I know I have some on some old images on my Facebook page, but I could not find that logo. But it started to kind of get me thinking about like, wow, I'm putting like my personal like logos on these images. I'm watermarking. I'm starting to really feel like a professional. And so as I started to evolve, I started to kind of think a little bit more about my personality. And the initial logo I had felt very fun and quirky, but it didn't really display like my romantic, whimsical side. And that's actually the side that's the most prominent. And so if you're ever out on a shoot with me, you'll know, like, I don't care if you have 10 kids, I'm going to take mom and dad and we're going to do some portraits of just them two, because that's just kind of where my heart is that like intimate, romantic part of my business is the intimacy between couples. So as I started to evolve, and I will show you guys my new branding, I actually had someone design more of a personalized branding for me. And I really, really, really love the way it came out because it highlights who I am. It gives it a little bit more of just a professional look. The color palette reminds people that, oh, she's kind of fun and kind of quirky probably too, but it has that romantic kind of vibe to it. And so as I started to develop my brand, I made sure that I kept all of my color palettes the same across my branding. So if you look through my, website, if you look through my blogs, if you look through a lot of my images, anything that you see that's got like my typing, my wording, it has the same type of typing font. It has the same graphic. It has the same colors. All my branding matches, because I think it's so important that when a client is like looking through your stuff, you don't look like you're schizophrenic and you have 15 different fonts and 15 different types of, colors, and they're like, hey, I'm confused. I want to keep my clients understanding who I am by consistently seeing the same type of branding from me. So that is something that I really do feel is important. Something else I wanted to talk to you guys about, because if you look at this graphic here in the middle, you'll see a circular logo, and that's actually my watermark. And that is something that we can get into a little bit later about should you or should you not watermark. But if you go onto Google and you Google like certain types like wedding photography images, you'll see photographers who actually will do something like this, where you will see the hugest watermark across their image, because as a photographer, this is our signature. This is like an artist would put, Picasso. This is what we put as our signature. And for someone to come and steal that art, it's really hurtful. But so therefore people started to watermark their images. But as you can see, like in this, thing, you can't even see the picture. So it's kind of, you got to be careful with your watermarking. Maybe place it in a place that doesn't hide the client's face or the overall feel of the image. So like in this next image, you'll see the watermark is over on the right side towards the bottom. It is there. Now, anyone who knows me knows I actually don't watermark. So, yeah, I don't watermark. I don't feel like it's, something that is a part of my brand. And I'm just going to be honest, I'm kind of lazy. So some of the reasons to watermark is it helps images to not get stolen and it's a signature for your art. Some of the reasons to not watermark is maybe you don't want to distract from the overall image. People don't want to be marketed to. So every time you see an image and they're like, oh, that's Thai Pentecost photography again. She's always in our face. Sometimes you just want them to see the image and not really care that it came from you because you're trying to, portray your art. But on the flip side, is someone like me and I'm just too lazy to watermark every single image. And I really don't think people are trying to steal my images anyways, but maybe I could be wrong. Anyways, so I do think it's important, however, to have some sort of a watermark, your logo, that reflects who you are as an artist. If you are a romantic, maybe your, logo is very whimsical and, script looking and just has a beautiful flow to it. If you're a calligrapher who works mainly on, children birthday parties and maybe all your stuff is fun and yellow and bright and pink and all that good stuff. But I just think it's important that your logo reflects your business and who you are. That way people can kind of connect to it. Or they might look at it and say, oh, I don't know if this person is for me. My perspective has always been, I want to work with clients who want to work with me, who can connect to me and connect to my brand. And so therefore, that's kind of what I'm targeting. When I start to put myself out there, my information out there, I'm looking for someone who feels like they can connect with me. So that's why I think it's important to talk about this branding right now. Okay. So the next thing is, you have got to have a website, people. Do you know how many photographers I have met that said they didn't have no website? Like, where do you put your work? On Facebook? What if Facebook shuts your page down? What if you get what is that thing people are calling it now? Like you get shadow banned or something? Like that would be horrible and all your work is on your Facebook page. Now no one's going to get a chance to talk to you and see your beautiful artistry. So I really do think it's important to have, not even important, it is a must-have to have a website. So let's talk about that. We've got some free options. We don't have to go and hire $1,000, $1,500 web designer. There is websites that you can do right for free that doesn't cost you a thing. You got Wix.com, and my first website was actually through WordPress, which is actually a blog, but I was able to lay it out in a way that, really reflected my brand. There's Weebly. I think there's Squarespace, which I think may have a monthly fee now because that includes their hosting and things like that. But either way, you have got to have a website. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about websites because if you're new to the industry and you're new to the game, getting a website is a lot more than just finding somewhere to actually build your page. So for an example, let's say you go through WordPress, you got your free website, and then you have to now get your domain name and you have to get hosting. So domain name is basically the address for your website. So for mine, it's www.thaipentecostphotography.com. I had to purchase that because if I went through WordPress, I think it would have been www.wordpress.something.thaipentecostphotography. And as a photographer who is targeting brides at a certain, level, I don't want them to be confused with how to get my website. I want them to just be able to type in my name and there it is. So that's something that you actually have to purchase or rent out or whatever, on a yearly basis. And so I actually do mine through GoDaddy. There are other places that you can do that through, but that's who I've chosen to do mine. The next thing is your website, it may cost you nothing, but you actually have to have a place to store all the data, the files. So as you build out your website, you're adding your images, maybe you're adding pictures of cakes because you're a baker, whatever it is, as you start to build your website, it's starting to collect data. And so your data has to be stored somewhere. And so that's web hosting. And so now you have to pay monthly, yearly, whatever it is, for someone to actually store those files for you. Because if you don't pay for it, your website crashes. And so now you got to pay for web hosting. So I'm going to tell you my first time out the gate for my website, I probably spent, it was free for the website. I think I spent $9.99 for the domain name. And I think I spent $30 or $20 or something like that for the actual hosting for all the files. So it could be really, really affordable to start a website. There are some websites that are easier than others to navigate. I'll tell you right now, I'm currently on Pro Photo. I did make a switch over because I wanted something that had a little bit more of a professional look. As I grew, I wanted to grow with my business. I wanted to grow with my website. And it's complicated to use. It takes time, it takes patience. I know my girlfriend Kara was saying she was working on her website and, it's taken her a long time because she's kind of a perfectionist. She wants it to look amazing. And it just takes time, guys, to do that. So, but it is really important that your website, again, reflects who you are, reflects your brand. You should have an about me on your website. You should have your galleries on your website. I should be able to go to your website and look at your page, and like the first thing that I see is who you are, what you do, and where you do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't have to dig through to find out where does she take these pictures. Is she from North Carolina or is she from Carolina? What does she do? Does she do families or babies? Or I'm confused because I see like 15 different things on her homepage. I don't think there's anything wrong with being like a photographer who specializes in many different areas, but I do feel like if you're trying to like become a senior portrait photographer, that should be the highlight on your homepage. I should be able to go to your page and say, she is a senior photographer. She's located out of California. And I could see right there on her homepage what her style of work is. In her about me, I could tell that she loves coffee, or she's got 2 kids, or whatever it is that you feel comfortable sharing about your personal life. Like, what would you feel comfortable sharing with the guy at the grocery store in line? Is probably what you could share on your website. And for me, I'm like all in. Like, I got this, I got these dogs, I got, I'm so like totally oversharing. But the bottom line is, the more you put out there in social media on your website about who you are, it is easier for that client to attract or detract from you. And I truly believe that I want to work again with people who want to work with me. So I actually did a little quick Google search because I'm looking for a dentist for myself. But I thought, let me put in kids dentist and see how easy it is to like find a dentist that actually has a website that clearly displays what they do. So I just popped into this guy's website today, and I fell in love with it because first of all, it's got lots of fun colors. Look at his logo, Children's Dental Fun Zone. So that tells me right there he's a dentist or she's a dentist. They clearly specialize in children, and they are a lot of fun. All the colors. So my kid's going to probably go there and not be crying, not be scared, whatever it is. The information is pretty clear right there on the website. I also popped into my friend Kara's website, or Carrie. She's actually a florist that I've worked with several times, love her to death. And as soon as I open up her website, I can see right there she's a florist. All over her page is flowers. Kara's Floral Affair. There's an about me. There's, she specializes in weddings. She specializes in special events. So she makes it really easy to know who she is. I could tell from the way that her wording is, the scripting on her wording, that she's probably a little bit more whimsical and romantic and soft and airy. And I love it. I connect to it right away because that's kind of my jam. That's why her and I work together. And I can tell right away what she does, how she does, and where she does. So it's just really important, you guys, to get your website on point. The next thing we want to talk to you about is your social media presence. Now, there is a lot of people who go back and forth about this. You got some folks who say they don't want to separate their page. Let's just use Instagram for an example. There are some photographers who use their Instagram for their personal and for their business page. I don't have any problem with that because a lot of them who do that don't share a lot about their personal life that isn't something that's very, very photogenic. So take for an example, or they might, they have pictures of them traveling. They have pictures of them out on their boat or whatever it is, but it's all in a way that's very seamless to their actual photography business or their calligraphy business or their baking business. Whatever it is, it has a really seamless flow to that. They don't share like their kids covered in chocolate. They don't share the pictures of, the dog laying on the ground being petted by their son. And I'm saying that because I keep my page separate because I want to show pictures like that to my friends. I keep a separate page for my friends and a separate page for my business. On my business, I still do share personal pictures of my family or myself or my son or what I'm up to that day, but I keep it in a way that is consistent with who I am as a business owner. I wanted to tie back into my business. I don't want to just show some random picture of here's my new remodel of my kitchen when I haven't been talking about my kitchen ever. Like, it just seems so out of place, right? So for those of you who have been following me, I do share a lot, like on Instagram stories about like my life and what's been going on my business page. But I kind of keep my business page separate because I want to keep my personal page in a way that I could just take a picture with my iPhone and post it and not worry about, does it look perfectly matching with the photo before it? You know what I'm saying? So I choose to keep those pages separate. Facebook, they actually kind of force you into keeping your page separate. If you don't keep your pages separate on Facebook, they will legit shut your page down. So I always tell people, be very careful about, putting yourself out there as a business owner on your personal page. I've been sharing pictures from my business page to my personal page since I started my business, and I have found that to be pretty successful for me because my friends who don't follow my business page will often comment on the things that I post from my business to my personal. So it's been kind of nice, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about some of the social media channels that I've used, or I know that a lot of my other photographer friends use. Obviously, we talked about Facebook. I think it's super important to have a separate Facebook business page from your personal page. This is almost like your secondary website. Every bride that I know that I've booked said, I checked out your website, I checked out your Instagram and your Facebook. They all said that to me. Not one of them said I booked you and never looked at, your Facebook or your Instagram. They're all looking at it. So I think it's super important to have that Facebook page, that Instagram page. I have Twitter on here. I do have a Twitter account, but I hardly ever use it. I'm just starting to build out my LinkedIn page, and I'm beginning to use YouTube for vlogging, which I absolutely love because you can do YouTube live, or you can actually kind of plan it out and post a video later. Whatever it is, I love the vlogging. It's so much fun for me, and so I love the way YouTube actually handles that for business owners. Then there's Pinterest, and there's also Tumblr, which I also use. So I'm going to kind of start to wrap this up, but I hope that this has been helpful for you guys, just to kind of remind you, like, start back to where we started from. These, I think, are the 3 must-haves. You have to have a logo, you have to have a website, you have to have a social media presence, you guys. If you want to be taken seriously as a business owner and you want clients to be able to search out your work and see who you are and be able to get in touch with you and relate to you and connect with you, you have got to put yourself out there on social media, on a website, and start to identify who you are as an artist with your brand. So I will wrap it up there. I'm just going to double check and make sure I don't have any questions, but I don't think I have. I think tonight has been a little bit quiet. And so I'm not surprised that tonight was quiet because there's just been a lot of things going on. And I'm going to wrap it up and say that we are a business who services anybody and everybody, that we are a non-discriminatory business here at Ty Pentecost Photography. We love people. We are a lover of people. So anyways, much love to you guys. For those of you who stayed on and watched this whole time, I really, really appreciate it. I will be following up with the blog and touching more about more information on what we talked about tonight. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to add questions into this Facebook Live, and I will respond to every question that I get. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching.